Hi everyone, welcome to Real English.
Where you learn natural English for real life.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Emily. Let's get started.
So, Emily, today we are tackling the ultimate survival arena. Forget the jungle, forget the desert. We are talking about the modern corporate workplace, and specifically that terrifying moment when you have to deliver bad news to your boss or your clients.
Oh, the classic project update meeting. It's stressful enough in your native language, but doing it in a second language? That is a recipe for absolute panic. Have you ever had a complete meltdown in one of these meetings, Paul?
Emily, I have a story that still wakes me up in a cold sweat at 3 a.m. A few years ago, I was managing the system design for a massive commercial building project. We were tasked with integrating a complex new boiler and heat pump solution. It was a huge deal. But we hit a major technical roadblock. The equipment sizing was off, and we were facing a 3-week delay. I had to report this to the main client, who was notorious for being extremely demanding.
Oh no, a demanding client and a 3-week delay? That is the perfect storm. How did you break the news?
I walked into the boardroom, plugged in my laptop, looked at this group of intimidating executives, and my brain just deleted all my professional vocabulary. Instead of sounding like an expert engineer, I looked the CEO in the eye and said, "The machine is bad. We have a big problem. We cannot do it now. We need more days. Sorry."
No, the machine is bad? Paul, you sounded like a toddler complaining about a broken toy.
It was horrific. The CEO just stared at me. He didn't even look angry, he just looked confused and deeply concerned about my competence. And this is exactly what happens to our listeners. When you are under pressure to explain a complex technical issue or a project delay to non-technical people, you revert to these basic, robotic, terrifyingly blunt sentences. You say things like, "The project is broken," or "We have a big error."
And the problem with speaking like a robot in the workplace is that it creates panic. If you sound panicked and use words like bad, broken, or error, the client panics too. But if you use the right framework and professional vocabulary, you can tell a client that the building is literally on fire, and they will thank you for your excellent project management skills.
Exactly. It is all about the packaging. So today, we are going to teach you how to be the calm, confident professional in the room, even when everything is going wrong. Let's start with our core teaching. Emily, what is the secret framework for delivering bad news without causing a corporate meltdown?
We are going to use a brilliant, foolproof framework called the A.R.C method. A.R.C. It stands for Acknowledge, Reframe, and Commit.
Acknowledge, reframe, commit. I love the sound of that. Break it down for us.
First, acknowledge the situation clearly, but without using panic words. Don't say, "We have a huge problem." Say, "We've encountered a slight setback," or "We are facing an unexpected challenge."
Right. Setback and challenge are professional words. Problem and disaster are panic words. What about the R?
Reframe the impact. This is where you translate the technical issue into business terms they understand, while keeping it calm. Instead of saying, "The system won't work," you say, "This means we need to adjust our timeline slightly to ensure the system integrity." You are reframing the delay as a quality control measure.
That is Jedi-level mind tricks right there. We aren't late, we are ensuring integrity.
And the C, commit to a solution. Never bring up a problem without immediately proposing a solution. You say, "To resolve this, our team is already doing X, Y, and Z, and we will have an update by Friday."
Acknowledge the setback, reframe the impact. Commit to the solution. If I had used the A.R.C method, I would have kept my dignity in that boardroom. But Emily, the framework alone isn't enough if our learners are still using basic verbs.
You are absolutely right. The corporate world has its own dialect, and we need to upgrade those beginner verbs. Let's start with a classic. A lot of learners say, "I will fix the problem," or "I will do the repair."
Elevate that. Instead of fix, use the verb troubleshoot. My team is currently troubleshooting the system. It implies a systematic professional approach to solving a complex issue, and instead of saying, I will make a plan, you should say, I am going to develop a strategy, or I will spearhead the recovery plan.
Ooh, spearhead. That is a fantastic power verb. It means to lead an initiative. If you tell your boss, I will spearhead this initiative, you instantly sound like leadership material.
You are. Another common one, instead of saying, I will talk to the other department, which sounds very casual, you can say, I will collaborate with the engineering team, or I need to consult with our design specialists. It shows teamwork and cross-functional awareness.
And speaking of cross-functional awareness, let's talk about the modern workplace for a second. We aren't just walking down the hall to talk to people anymore. We are dealing with global teams, time zones, and endless Zoom calls. A huge part of modern workplace survival is mastering asynchronous communication.
Oh, definitely. You are often sending updates via Slack, Teams, or email to people who are just waking up on the other side of the world. So when you are communicating a delay online, you can't rely on your tone of voice or a friendly smile. Your words have to do all the heavy lifting.
Exactly. You have to be precise. You can say things like, I wanted to provide a quick asynchronous update on the project status, or let's take this offline and discuss it in a separate thread so we don't derail this meeting. These phrases show you respect people's time and digital boundaries.
That is so true. Let's take this offline is the ultimate corporate polite way of saying, please stop talking about this right now.
Lapsman, it really is. Okay, I think it's time to equip our listeners with our pocket words. These are 5 high-frequency corporate buzzwords that you will hear in almost every English-speaking office in the world. If you use these correctly, you will instantly sound like an industry veteran.
I am ready. Hit me with word number 1.
Word number 1 is a noun, bottleneck. In traffic, a bottleneck is where the road gets narrow and everything slows down. In business, a bottleneck is a person, a process, or a technical issue that is delaying the entire project.
This is so useful. Instead of saying, the design team is too slow and making us late, you can say, we are currently experiencing a bottleneck in the design approval phase. It removes the personal blame and focuses on the process.
Brilliant. Word number 2 is pushback. This is a noun that means negative resistance or opposition to a plan.
If you are proposing a new, expensive system design to a client, you might tell your team, we should prepare for some pushback on the budget. Or, I received a lot of pushback from the client regarding the timeline extension.
Word number 3 is align, or the noun form alignment. This just means getting everyone on the same page, agreeing on the same goals.
You hear this in every single meeting. Before we move forward, I want to make sure marketing and engineering are aligned on this strategy. Or, let's schedule a quick call to ensure alignment. It's the ultimate corporate harmony word.
Word number 4 is bandwidth. Now, originally, this is a tech term about internet speed, but in the corporate world, it refers to human energy, time, or capacity.
Right. If your boss asks you to take on a massive new project, but you are already working 60 hours a week, you don't say, I am too tired, I cannot do it. You say, I would love to help, but I just don't have the bandwidth for that right now. It sounds so professional.
It's the most polite way to say no. And finally, word number 5 is a verb, to pivot. This means to fundamentally change your strategy or direction when the current plan isn't working.
If the original heat pump design is completely failing due to site constraints, you tell the client, the current approach isn't viable, so we need to pivot to an alternative solution. It sounds like a strategic choice rather than a failure.
Those 5 words are absolute gold. Bottleneck, pushback, alignment, bandwidth, and pivot. Write those down, everyone. Now, let's move into our Smooth It Out clinic, where we fix those terrifying Chinglish phrases and robotic translations.
Oh, I love this part. Let's start with a classic apology. When a project is delayed, a lot of learners will bow their heads and say, please understand our situation, or please forgive this delay.
Oh, please understand. I hear this so much. In a business context, Please understand actually sounds a bit defensive or even slightly condescending, as if you are saying, the client is not smart enough to understand.
Exactly. In modern English business culture, we actually replace apologies with gratitude. Instead of saying, please understand the delay, you say, thank you for your flexibility, or we really appreciate your patience as we work through this.
It completely changes the dynamic. You are complimenting them for being patient, rather than begging for forgiveness. Here is another one. When an engineer is asked to fix something, they often say, I will try my best to do it.
I will try my best. It sounds nice, but to a nervous stakeholder, try my best sounds like I might fail, but I'll sweat a lot while doing it. You need to project confidence.
So what do we say instead?
You say, I'm on it, or my team is prioritizing this immediately, or using our upgraded verb, I am spearheading the troubleshooting right now. You want to give them absolute certainty that action is being taken.
Love that. Okay, one last quick one. Sometimes a client asks for a feature that is impossible. A learner might say, it is impossible to make.
Way too blunt. That is a conversational brick wall. Instead, soften it and offer an alternative. That might be outside our current scope, but what we can do is, or that presents a significant technical challenge, but let me explore some alternative workarounds.
Workaround is such a great word. It means a temporary solution to bypass a problem. Okay, Paul, it is time for the main event, the practice conversation. We are going to put you back in the hot seat.
Oh boy, am I back in the boardroom?
You are. We are on a high-stakes video call. I am the very demanding, slightly irritated client. You are the lead system design engineer. You have to tell me that the central heating installation is facing a delay because of a supply chain issue with the main boiler units.
Okay, deep breaths. I am going to use the A.R.C method, acknowledge, reframe, commit. I'll use our upgraded verbs, and I will definitely drop some of our pocket words. I am ready.
Let's do this. Clears throat, adopts a stern, professional tone. Hi, Paul. Thanks for jumping on this call. I'm looking at the project dashboard, and I see a red flag next to the main installation phase. What is going on? Tell me we aren't delayed.
Hi, Emily. Thanks for making the time. To be transparent, we have encountered a slight setback regarding the procurement of the primary boiler units.
A setback? Paul, we have a hard launch date for this facility next month. We cannot afford any delays. Are you telling me the equipment isn't here?
I completely understand your concern, Emily, and I know how critical that timeline is. The global supply chain has created a bottleneck at the manufacturer's end. However, to reframe this slightly, this delay actually allows our engineering team the bandwidth to run advanced diagnostic tests on the secondary pump systems beforehand, ensuring that when the main units arrive, integration will be seamless.
I don't care about the secondary systems right now, Paul. I care about the heating being turned on. What is the actual impact on our launch date? I'm going to get a lot of pushback from the board if we push this back.
I anticipate that pushback, which is why we are already pivoting our strategy. We are not going to move the launch date. To resolve this, I am personally spearheading a workaround. We have collaborated with a local supplier to install a temporary bridging system that will provide adequate heating for the launch event.
A temporary system? Will that handle the load?
Absolutely. We've run the models and it will handle the requirements perfectly. We will then swap in the permanent units 2 weeks later during the off hours. I want to make sure we are fully aligned on this approach before I give the green light.
Pauses. Tone softens slightly, okay. A temporary bridging system. That actually makes sense. I appreciate you finding a workaround, Paul. Thank you for your flexibility on this.
We appreciate your patience, Emily. My team is prioritizing this, and I will send you a detailed asynchronous update by end of day tomorrow with the revised logistics.
Sounds good. Let's touch base on Thursday.
And scene. Wow, my heart rate actually went up during that.
You handled that beautifully, Paul. Let's break it down for our listeners. You didn't say the machine is bad. You said, we encountered a slight setback regarding procurement. That sounds so incredibly professional.
And I used the A.R.C method. I acknowledged the bottleneck. I reframed the delay as a chance to test the secondary systems, turning a negative into a positive, and then I committed to a temporary workaround so we wouldn't miss the launch date.
You also used our pocket words perfectly. You acknowledged my lack of bandwidth, you anticipated the board's pushback, and you made sure we were aligned. If an engineer spoke to me like that, I would trust them completely, even if the project was on fire.
It really is all about managing emotions through vocabulary. If you stay calm and use professional phrasing, the client stays calm.
Exactly. And now, it is time for our listeners to take the hot seat. We are bringing the boardroom to the comments section.
Here is your high-stakes scenario. Imagine you are managing a project and your key software developer just got sick, meaning you will miss your Friday deadline.
We want you to write your response to the client in the comments below. Try to use the A.R.C method. Acknowledge the setback, reframe the impact, and commit to a solution.
Bonus points if you use one of our upgraded verbs like spearhead or troubleshoot, or a pocket word like bottleneck or pivot. We want to see how professionally you can deliver bad news.
Paul and I will be checking the comments, acting as your clients, giving you feedback, and smoothing out any robotic phrasing. This is your safe space to practice before you have to do it in real life.
We can't wait to read your corporate strategies. Thank you so much for joining us in the boardroom today. Keep practicing, stay calm under pressure, and we will see you next time on Real English.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Remember, don't just translate, communicate. See you next time. Bye.